To Spain, where Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez looks set to win the backing of Spain's parliament for a new term. This as the country split over his decision to grant Catalan separatists an amnesty in exchange for their crucial support in a confidence vote. For more on this, let's bring in France 24's Sarah Morris in Madrid. Sarah, this deal has prompted protests across Spain. Tens of thousands of people have rallied around the country. Today's vote takes place after almost 2 weeks of nightly demonstrations outside the Socialist Party headquarters. Tell us a bit more about the tensions there.
The mood is very tense indeed, Jeannie, and to the point where the police have had to cordon off the parliament where the debate is underway, as well as some of the surrounding streets, because protesters have been gathering around those central streets. And as you mentioned, 2 weeks of nightly protests outside the Socialist headquarters. Some of those protests have turned violent and have led to objects being thrown at the police, at journalists, and dozens of arrests. Most of the protests across Spain have been peaceful and have been called by the People's Party or by Catalans who want Catalonia to remain part of Spain. And there's a great deal of tension and uncertainty, really, about exactly what this amnesty means for Spain. We know that about 2/3 of, or 70% of voters in an opinion poll were against that amnesty, and many of them are socialist voters, about 60%. Now, Pedro Sanchez, the socialist acting prime minister, is hoping to get a second term, and he recognised in the parliament that the amnesty is very unpopular. He said it's in the general interest. It will calm down tensions, he said, in Catalonia and throughout Spain. And he said that it was a necessary evil, essentially, a necessity, he said, and he was trying to make a virtue of it. He talked about the need to keep out the far right, with a reference to the far right party of Vox that is in some regional governments with the Conservative People's Party. But many of the Conservative commentators are unhappy about what they see as Pedro Sanchez trying to say that this pact with nationalists and separatists is necessary to keep out the People's Party, which they say was voted for, just like the Socialists, by about 8 million voters.
Sarah, talk to us a bit more about this government program that Sanchez has laid out.
Well, essentially, he tried to not talk too much about the amnesty. He spent an hour laying out a programme without mentioning the word amnesty. And he talked about putting up the minimum wage so that it would be 60% of the average wage. He talked about free public transport for young people and unemployed people. He also talked about debt relief on regions. He said it wouldn't just be those 15 billion euros of a debt write-off to Catalonia. Other regions would also be helped. He also talked about cutting waiting lists in the very crisis-stricken health service after the pandemic. But some regions have been quick to point out that that is a devolved competence, and that will involve deals with all the autonomous regions across Spain. Many worrying that some of the deals he has struck with the regional leaders across Spain, including the Catalans and the Basque separatists, may mean that his hands are tied. And we've seen some of the Catalan separatist spokespeople warning that they want to see their deals met. Otherwise, the Sanchez government could prove very short-lived.